I'm Mandy, and this is my guide to the glory of the Nerub'ar Raider achievements. The first achievement in the raid is for Ulgrax the Devourer with slimy yet satisfying. In order to complete this achievement, there is a grub on the back of the platform that must stay alive for the entire encounter. Ultimately, this grub cannot be healed and it dies very easily, so you'll want to zerg the boss down away from where it is as quickly as you can. After you've clicked the grub at the beginning of the counter, it will remain in the encounter. If the grub does manage to get hit by a mechanic, you'll have to wipe and start the encounter again. The grub does respawn in the same location when the boss does. The next achievement in the raid is for the Bloodbound Horror with You Can't See Me. This one is a little more difficult than the first achievement was, as it is all completed in the downstairs phase that happens when you get hit with the frontal. The oozes that you must walk over are fairly far away from where the boss is at in order to get the slimed debuff as well. Once everybody in the raid group has ran over their ooze and gotten the debuff, the entire group must stack together in order to spawn a volatile ooze. You can take as many frontal phases as you need to in order to get everybody their slimed debuff. If anybody in your group dies, it is fine as long as they have been slimed. Just make sure that you move your stack point onto them to ensure the ooze spawns. Proceed to complete the encounter as normal once you have defeated the volatile ooze. The next achievement in the raid is for Sikran with Sick Parry Bro. This achievement is actually extremely simple if you can get the majority of your raid group a weapon from the weapon rack ahead of the encounter. The weapon racks respawn after some time, and there are a total of 6 weapon racks between 3 rooms before the boss encounter. Once the encounter begins, each member of the raid group just needs to get into melee and use their extra action button against the boss. This will cause the boss to give you the riposte debuff and knock the weapon from your hand onto the floor. For those in the group who did not have a weapon going in, they will need to pick one up off the floor and do this once others have begun. The riposte debuff causes you to take an additional 20% damage for the remainder of the fight, so less than zerg the boss ASAP as soon as everyone has the debuff. The fourth achievement in the raid is for Rasha'nan, yes, the boss from the dungeon, with Cowabunga. The wording on this achievement is rather deceiving, as you need to make sure that every member of the raid group rides the wave each time that it comes out. The most efficient way to do this is to lust on pull, and then when the rolling acid mechanic comes out, to have the 2 players who are targeted with the mechanic to stand on one side of the entire group, to ensure that the entire raid is hit with the wave each time. Players cannot use any immunities for the waves, as they must get hit by the mechanic, otherwise you will fail the achievement. Lock cookies and health potions are highly encouraged though for your healer sanity. The following achievement in the raid is for Broodtwister Ovi'nax, with a homage to our favorite expansion achievements, Would You Still Love Me If I Was a Worm? That mysterious glowing egg that you see and want to click on before entering the boss room finally comes into play with this achievement. One player will need to click the egg and bring it into the boss room. The egg does slow your movement, but it doesn't keep you from casting if you pick it up before all of the trash is cleared. The lucky player carrying the egg will need to, ideally, stack on an egg sack that will be broken during the encounter. when the injection circles come out to break the eggs, there needs to be 2 used on the egg and player combined to trigger the next portion of the achievement. Doing this will cause a disheartened worm to spawn that every member of the raid group will then need to /love at. Once everybody has done this, the worm will become friendly and you are able to lust and zerg the boss down and defeat as normal. The 6th achievement in the raid is for Princess Ky'veza with Kill Streak. Surprisingly, this achievement wasn't all that difficult to get. There is a brazier to the left of the door when you enter into Ky'veza's encounter room that you will need a player to sacrifice themselves to in order to pull the boss and begin the achievement. After that, you just need to sacrifice players to mechanics creatively every 45 seconds or so to maintain the kill streak buff that Ky'veza will have gained from the brazier. The kill streak buff lasts for 1 minute, so it gives you plenty of time to lust on pull and zerg her down as quickly as you can. The next achievement in the raid is for the Silken Court with Love is in the Air. This achievement has a tiny amount of setup before you can begin the encounter to get the achievement. As you are leaving Ky'veza's room, to the right before you hit the stairs again, there is a plushie that a player will need to collect to give to Nerub'ar before the encounter begins. There is also a box of chocolates at the bottom of the stairs on the staircase coming up across from Ky'veza's room that another player will need to collect and give to Takash before the encounter begins as well. These need to be thrown at the bosses before the encounter begins, as you cannot throw them to them in combat. Once that has been done for both bosses, you can begin the encounter. It is highly recommended to take the 2 bosses apart versus keeping them together for cleave, as they do have a 1% HPS buff when they are together thanks to the items that were thrown at them. Aside from that, you can complete the encounter as you normally would to get the achievement. The final achievement in the raid is for Queen Ansurek with Missed 'em by That Much. The entirety of this achievement actually occurs in the 3rd phase of the fight. Now, before you panic and think that everybody must be alive for the achievement to happen, they don't. The entirety of this achievement is all about portal placement in the final phase to dodge the frothing gluttony collapsing ring mechanic. The 2 portals must go across the platform from each other and cannot be on the same side, as you need to use the portal to go underneath the boss during this mechanic to trigger the achievement. You will not get the achievement if players immune or blink to avoid the mechanic, instead of utilizing the portals to go under the boss. Once that has been done, you are free to put the queen in her place. Congratulations on completing your own Glory of the Nerub'ar Raider achievements. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this guide.